Good morning and welcome. My name is Lydia Martin. I'm the Chief Communications Officer here in St. Lucie Public Schools, and it is my privilege and honor to be your moderator this morning. I wish each of the teams the very best and enjoy the competition. We are going to begin with a 5-point question round. Everyone should have their supplies at their table. You can have your pencils, calculators, scratch paper out at this time. Okay, are we ready to begin? Okay, great. Question number 1. Which of the following 4 artists is not associated with Romanticism? 1. Eugene Delacroix. 2. Paul Cézanne. 3. Theodore Géricault. 4. William Blake.
Team 6.
Treasure Coast, F3.
Paul Cézanne.
That is correct. Match each of the following 4 divine parents to his or her demigod offspring. Here are the parents. A. Zeus. B. Thetis. C. Apollo. D. Poseidon. Demigods. 1. Achilles. 2. Hercules. 3. Orpheus. 4. Theseus.
Team 2.
Westwood, B4.
It would be Achilles to Apollo. No.
We have to go with the first response that you had, which was Achilles and Apollo, and that would be incorrect. The correct matching would be Zeus with Heracles, Thetis with Achilles, Apollo with Orpheus, and Poseidon with Theseus. Next question. Arrange the following 4 in order from least to greatest. 1. The square root of 441. 2. The greatest common factor of 60 and 75. 3. The least common multiple of 6 and 14. 4. The quotient of 132 and 6.
Time.
Judges, do you want me to respond
Yes,
with the
please.
correct answer? Okay. So the correct answer would be number 2, which would be 15, number 1, which is 21, number 4, which is 22, and number 3, which is 42. Next question. Which one of the following 4 was not an achievement of President Franklin Roosevelt? 1. Signed the Atlantic Charter. 2. Dedicated the Boulder Dam. 3. Signed the Federal Reserve Act. 4. Won 4 presidential elections.
No, it is. It's Central, A3.
3.
That is correct. Next question. Who am I? I was a friend of Mozart and a teacher of Beethoven.
Team 6.
6, F2.
Correct. For the next world language question, you will need the following exclamation. Turn off the AC. It is cold outside. In French or Spanish, considering the context of the given sentence, state and spell, including accents if necessary, the conjunction of the correct verb that would translate the word is. Turn off the AC. It is cold outside.
St. Lucie West Centennial, E4.
I say HACE.
That's correct. Next question. Queen Elizabeth II was the longest reigning British monarch. Who is the longest reigning European king?
Treasure Coast, F3.
Henry VIII.
Incorrect. Louis XIV. Next question. Identify the poet whose poems include The Road Not Taken.
Team 6.
Treasure Coast,
Robert.
F4.
Robert Frost.
Robert Frost is correct. For the next question, you will use handout 3-1. Locate the envelope labeled 3-1 and show it to the judges. Break the seal and hold the envelope by the long sides. Nothing is to be placed inside the envelope. The question is printed on the handout. Distribute the handouts and begin.
Team 6.
Treasure Coast, F3.
C.
C is correct. Identify the play by Shakespeare in which multiple conspirators stab the title character.
Team 6.
F4.
Julius Caesar.
Julius Caesar is correct. Next question. Donald and Goofy are arguing over a CAC lanyard that has a mass of 2.5 kilograms attached to it. Donald pulls to the left on the lanyard with a horizontal force of 25 newtons, and Goofy pulls on it to the right with a horizontal force of 28 newtons. To two significant digits, calculate in meters per second squared the magnitude of acceleration of the mass.
1.2 meters per second squared.
Correct. Next question. Identify respectively the mathematical property illustrated in each of the following four statements. Statement 1. 7c plus the quantity of A plus 5b equals 7c plus the quantity of 5b plus A. Statement 2. 1 times A equals A. Statement 3. 4 times the quantity of x plus 3 equals 4x plus 12. Statement 4. 2 plus the quantity A plus B equals the quantity 2 plus A plus B.
Team 6.
Treasure Coast, F3.
Communicative, identity property, distributive property, associative property.
Judges answer, okay. Incorrect. The first correct answer is commutative, identity, distributive, and associative.
They responded communicative.
Correct. You said communicative. Next question. For the next question, you will use handout 3-2. Locate the envelope labeled 3-2 and show it to the judges. Break the seal and hold the envelope by the long sides. Nothing is to be placed inside the envelope. The question is printed on the handout. Distribute the handouts and begin.
Treasure Coast, F2.
1. Spanish 1. Oh, Spanish 1.
Spanish 1 is correct. State 43,740,000,000 in scientific notation.
Fort Pierce Central, B3, or A3.
4.374 times 10 raised to the 10th power.
That's correct. Next question. Who am I? I was born in Samos and then immigrated to southern Italy. None of my writings have survived. However, I am credited with several important discoveries. My most famous writing was a theorem about right triangles.
A3.
Pythagoras,
Pythagoras is correct. Identify the poetic term defined as a systematic pattern of stressed syllables.
Team 6.
Treasure Coast F3.
Meter.
Meter is correct. Who am I? I was born in Ohio on April 26, 1900. I attended the University of Southern California and studied physics at Stanford University and the California Institute of Technology. In 1935, with Bino Gutenberg, I developed the magnitude scale based on instrumental recordings.
Fort
of-
Pierce Central A3.
Charles Richter,
Charles Richter is correct. That is the end of the 5-point round. It is time for the 10-point team question entitled Man of La Mancha. Locate the envelope labeled Man of La Mancha and show it to the judges. This envelope contains 4 copies of the handout. You are to choose your answer for each question or clue from the answer bank provided. Break the seal and place the envelope on your team table. The team question is worth a total of 10 points, and each question is worth 1 point. You will be given 3 minutes to complete this team question. Remember to write your team number on the handout to be collected and scored. Distribute the contents of the envelope. You may begin. Okay, at this time, I'm going to read the correct answers. They were 1 point each, and then Dr. Pruitt will share the points that each team earned. The first answer was Tenzing Norgay. Number 2 was Martin Luther King Jr. 3 was Joseph. 4, Aborigines. 5, Sigmund Freud. 6, Mercutio. 7, Barack Obama. 8, Salvador Dali. 9, REM. And 10, in French was Celine Dion, and in Spanish, Gigantes.
So at Central, we had 3 points for the team question. Westwood, 3 points for the team question. LPA, 9 points for the team question. Port St. Lucie High School, 4 points for the team question. Centennial, 7 points for the team question. Treasure Coast, 5 points for the team question. And Mosaic Digital Academy, 4 points for the team question. At this time, we will have a 2-minute break. Fort Pierce Central, 128 points. Fort Pierce Westwood, 98 points. Lincoln Park Academy, 109 points. Port St. Lucie High School, 104 points. St. Lucie West Centennial High School, 107 points. Treasure Coast High School, 125 points. Mosaic Digital Academy, 104 points.
We are going to begin the 10-point round. Fill in the blank. Life on Earth owes its existence to the water molecule's unique properties. For example, solid water is less dense than liquid water, which is caused by blank bonds forming between polar water molecules.
Fort Pierce Central, A3.
covalent,
That's incorrect. The correct answer is hydrogen. Find the sum of all real roots of the following equation. 3x to the 4th plus 10x squared minus 8 equals 0.
Treasure Coast, F4.
There we go. 0.
The correct answer is 0. Identify the uprising after which the British government passed the Proclamation of 1763, forbidding American colonists from settling west of the Appalachian mountain range.
Time.
The answer was Pontiac's Rebellion. For the next question, one musical selection will be played. You may take notes or discuss quietly during the playing. Go ahead and play the excerpt. Okay. The question is, identify the composer of the musical selection.
Team 6.
Treasure Coast, F4.
Holst.
Holst is correct. Next question. State whether a certain triangle with side lengths of 4 inches, 7 inches, and 8 inches is right, acute, or obtuse.
Team 4.
Port St. Lucie High School, D1.
Acute.
Acute is correct. For the next world language question, you will need the following sentence. There are 3 books on the table. In French or Spanish, considering the context of the given sentence, state and spell, including accents if necessary, the word or words used to translate there are.
Team 3.
LPA. C2.
IHAY.
In which language?
Oh, Spanish.
Correct. Which one of the following, next question. Which one of the following 4 strategies for expanding civil rights would the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. have been most likely to support? 1. Sabotaging the electricity supply to the homes of segregationist leaders. 2. Intimidating elderly whites to discourage them from supporting Jim Crow laws. 3. Boycotting stores that enforced segregationist policies. 4. Boycotting elections to underscore the
Team
problems.
4.
Port St. Lucie, D4.
3.
3 is correct. Next question. What am I? I am a transition element with common oxidation states of +2 and +3. I have a gold flame test and am the most common element on Earth by mass. I am a vital component of hemoglobin.
Fort Pierce Central, A3.
Iron.
Iron is correct.
Yes.
For the next question, you're going to use handout 3-4. Locate the envelope labeled 3-4 and show it to the judges. Which one of the following notated measures contains a rhythmic error?
Central, A1.
2.
2 is correct. For the next question, you will use handout 3-5. Locate the envelope labeled 3-5, show it to the judges. Open the envelope and remove the one science handout. The question is, classify respectively each of the 4 feedback mechanisms as either positive or negative.
Team 6.
Treasure Coast, F4.
We have negative, negative, positive, positive.
That is correct. Next question. Match each of the following 4 British authors to his or her novel. Here are the authors. A. Jane Austen. B. Charles Dickens. C. William Golding. B. Robert Louis Stevenson. Here are the novels. 1. Lord of the Flies. 2. Emma. 3. Great Expectations.
Treasure Coast, F3.
A2, B3, C1, D4.
That is correct. For the next question, you will use handout 3-7. Locate the envelope labeled 3-7 and show it to the judges. Hold the envelope by the long sides. Nothing is to be placed inside the envelope. The question is printed on the handout. A reminder, when you're answering the question, state the language first before answering. You may distribute the handouts and begin.
Centennial, E4.
Spanish, Andorra.
What was that? I couldn't hear the last thing they said. Spanish and what?
That's correct.
Number 3, Andorra.
Okay, correct. Spanish 3. That is the end of the 10-point round. It is time for the 20-point team question entitled Mamma Mia. Locate the envelope labeled Mamma Mia and show it to the judges. The envelope contains 4 copies of the handout and 1 answer sheet. And judges, this is where they're going to be handing in just 1 sheet for the team.
Yes.
Each answer is alliterative. You are to write your answer in the blanks provided on the answer sheet. Open the envelope and place the envelope on your team table. The team question is worth a total of 20 points, and each question is worth 1 point. You will be given 3 minutes to complete the team question. Remember to write your team name on the answer sheet to be collected and scored. Distribute the contents of the envelope. You may begin. You have 3 minutes. We are going to get the answers for this section and the scores. But first, a little background. Mamma Mia is based on the songs of ABBA, a Swedish pop group active from 1972 to 1982. Sophie dreams of a perfect wedding and her father giving her away, except Sophie doesn't know who her father is. Her mother refuses to talk about the past, so Sophie decides to sneak a peek in her mother's old diaries and discovers 3 possible candidates, Sam, Bill, and Harry. She secretly invites all 3 to the wedding, convinced she'll know her father when she sees him. But when all 3 turn up, it may not be as clear as she thought. Here are the answers, 1 point for each correct answer. 1, ascorbic acid. 2, James Joyce. 3, Pablo Picasso. 4, Big Ben. 5, Woodrow Wilson. 6, William Wordsworth. 7, Mickey Mouse. 8, Rough Riders. 9, calcium carbonate. 10, Franz Ferdinand. 11, Big Brother. 12, Production Possibilities. 13, Benjamin Britten. 14, Silent Spring. 15, Big Bang. 16, Tall Tale. 17, Stockholm Syndrome. 18, Margaret Mitchell. 19, Benjamin Benneker. And 20, the answer was 66 in their respective languages.
You did have to write 66 in the language that you were writing it. It would not have counted if you wrote the number 66 because of alliteration. The team scores are the following. Fort Pierce Central had 8 points on the team point. Fort Pierce Westwood, 5 points. Lincoln Park, 4 points. Port St. Lucie High School, 4 points. St. Lucie West Centennial, 4 points. Treasure Coast, 12 points. And Mosaic, 3 points. At this point, we will be taking a 2-minute break. All right. Where we are with scores currently after round 2 of the 10-point round, Fort Pierce Central High School, 146 points. Fort Pierce Westwood, 93 points. Lincoln Park Academy, 103 points. Port St. Lucie High School, 108 points. St. Lucie West Centennial High School, 121 points. Treasure Coast High School, 157 points. Mosaic Digital Academy, 107 points.
Okay, we are set to begin the 15-point question round. The first question, identify the city which the temple of Athena Nike is located.
Fort Pierce Westwood Academy, B4.
Athens.
Athens is correct. Next question. Expressing your answer as a logarithm, state the solution of 2 to the power of the quantity x plus 5 equals 2 plus 2 to the x power. The correct answer was log base 2 of 2 over 31. For the next question, you will use handout 3-8. Locate the envelope labeled 3-8. Show it to the judges. Open the envelope and remove the one science handout. The question is, identify respectively each of the 4 animal features as examples of adaptive radiation or convergent evolution. Identify respectively each of the 4 animal features as examples of adaptive radiation or convergent evolution. The correct answer was adaptive radiation, 2, convergent evolution, 3, convergent evolution, and 4, adaptive
Team 4.
radiation. Next question. Match each of the 3 economists to the idea most closely associated with him. Economists are Milton Friedman, John M. Keynes, and Adam Smith. The ideas are 1, the government primes the pump, 2, the invisible hand theory, and 3, there is no free lunch.
Team 3.
LPA, C2.
A3, B1, C2.
Correct. Next question. Who am I? I was awarded honors in mathematics from King's College in Cambridge in 1936. My paper titled On Computable Numbers introduced the stored program concept central to modern computers. During World War II, my work at Bletchley Park was instrumental in breaking the Enigma code.
Treasure Coast High School, BF3.
Alan Turing.
That's correct. Identify respectively the 4 terms beginning with the letter X from the following clues? 1. Fear of strangers. 2. Musical instrument made of wooden bars struck by mallets. 3. Small cartilaginous extension of the sternum. 4. Landscape design requiring little to no irrigation.
Treasure Coast, F4.
Is it on? Yeah, okay. Xenophobia, xylophone, xiphoid, and xeriscape.
That's correct. Match each of the following 4 composers to his composition. Here are the composers. A. Debussy. B. Tchaikovsky. C. Beethoven. D. Grieg. The compositions are 1. Choral Symphony. 2. Peer Gent Suite No. 2. 3.
6.
Treasure Coast, F3.
A3, B4, C1, D2.
That's correct. Identify the diplomatic correspondence that President Woodrow Wilson's administration used as justification for U.S. military involvement in World War I.
Team 6.
Treasure Coast, F1.
Zimmerman telegram.
That's correct. Next question. Take the first 2 letters of each answer to the following 3 clues and rearrange them to make a celebratory term. Number 1, part of the alimentary canal that connects the throat to the stomach. 2, literary works of the imagination. 3, straight line or plane that touches a curve at a point, but if extended, does not cross it at that point.
Treasure Coast, F2.
Fiesta.
Correct. The correct answer was fiesta. The answers were esophagus, fiction, and tangent. Given the half-life of carbon-14 is approximately 5,700 years, calculate in whole years the time it will take a 50-gram sample to deteriorate to a 6.25.
Port St. Lucie High School, D1.
713.
Incorrect. The correct answer is 17,100 years. For the next question, you will use handout 3-9. Locate the envelope labeled 3-9 and show it to the judges. Hold the envelope by the long sides. Nothing is to be placed inside the envelope. The question is printed on the handout. Distribute the handouts and begin.
Treasure Coast High School, F2.
Spanish, Buenos Aires.
Correct. To 2 significant digits, calculate in atmospheres the pressure exerted by 15 grams of SO2 gas in a rigid 6.3 liter container at 25 degrees Celsius.
Time.
The correct answer was 0.91 atmospheres. Next question. Identify the one word that has all of the following 3 meanings. 1, husband in a British slapstick puppet pair. 2, type of beverage.
Treasure Coast High School, F3.
Punch.
Punch is correct. Which one or ones of the following 4 conditions could increase the intensity of a hurricane? 1, movement over land. 2, movement over warm ocean waters. 3,
Centennial High School, E4.
Number 2.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Number 2.
Number 2 is correct, but there was also another one that was correct, which was number 3. Next question. Complete the following statement with one of the 4 given choices. The U.S. Constitution divided foreign policy powers between 1. Democrats and Republicans, 2. The President and the Supreme Court, 3. Congress and the President,
Team 6.
Treasure Coast, F1.
3.
3 is correct. Identify the king associated with the construction of the Palace of Versailles.
Centennial, E4? Yeah.
Louis the 14th.
Louis XIV is correct. Next question. Determine the 2 rhyming words suggested by each of the following 2 pairs of descriptions. Pair 1, the Earth's natural satellite, and a goose-sized aquatic bird of genus Gavia.
Team 2.
Fort Pierce Westwood, B1.
Moon and loon.
Moon and loon is correct, but there was a part 2. So the second part was French cross with 2 bars and poorly sorted glacial deposit, which was Lorraine and Moraine. That ends the 15-point round. It is time for the 30-point team question entitled The Catch of the Season. Locate the envelope labeled The Catch of the Season and show it to the judges. This envelope contains 4 copies of the handout. Once again, you will be turning in 1 copy, correct, judges? You're going to turn in 1 team copy. 1 musical selection will be played. You may take notes or discuss quietly during the playing. Okay, you'll be given 3 minutes to complete this team question. Write your team name on the answer sheet to be collected. You may distribute the contents of the envelope. You may begin. You have 3 minutes. All right, while the judges are scoring, just a little bit of background on that question. The Catch of the Season is an Edwardian musical comedy based on the fairy tale Cinderella. Edwardian musical comedy began in the last decade of the Victorian era and captured the optimism, energy, and good humor of the new century and the Edwardian era. Later, Lady Caterham's debutante stepdaughter Angela is the catch of the season. She becomes engaged to the young Lord St. Germans, who is inclined to lustfulness. She is, however, in love with Lord German's page, Bucket. The musical premiered at the Vaudeville London Theatre in London in 1904 and ran for 621 performances. Here are the answers. Number 1 was spring, 2 summer, 3 falls, 4 1.4 meters, 5 fall, 6 winter, 7 spring, 8 fall, 9 $78, 10 spring, 11 summer, 12 summer, 13 winter, 14 winter, 15 French, La Printemps, and Spanish, La Primavera.
Please note that if you did not put the la or le in front of the French or Spanish, it is marked incorrect. All right. So at this point with the team questions, we had the following points for each team question. Reminder, they were 2 points each. Fort Pierce Central received 20 points for the team question. Fort Pierce Westwood, 12 points. Lincoln Park Academy, 16 points. Port St. Lucie, 8 points. Centennial, 10 points. Treasure Coast, 22 points. Mosaic, 6 points. We have finished our first round of those pieces. We are going to take a 10-minute break.
We are ready to begin round 2. First, we are going to have our 5-point questions. First question. Match each of the following 4 Latin phrases to its meaning. Here are the phrases. A, Veni, Vidi, Vici. B, Semper Fidelis. C, Caveat emptor. D, Tempus fugit. Here are the meanings. 1, always faithful. 2, let the buyer beware. 3, time flies. 4, I came, I saw, I conquered.
Fort Pierce Central High School, A3.
A4, B1, C2, D3.
Correct. Simplify the quotient using only positive exponents. The product of x to the power of n,
F3.
N, x to the n, y to the n.
that's correct. Next question. Spell the possessive pronoun used in the following sentence. Many of those girls have dyed their hair, but you can't tell
Treasure
it.
Coast, F3.
Their.
That's correct. For the next question, you will use handout 5-1. Locate the envelope labeled 5-1. Show it to the judges. Open the envelope and remove the one science handout. This is a two-part question. Part 1. Identify the one independent variable. Part 2. Identify the two dependent variables.
Team 3.
LPA, C2.
The independent variable is human proximity to cat. The dependent variables are intelligence and insanity of statements.
That's correct. Next question. Complete the following statement with one of the four given choices. The weightlessness experienced by space travelers in zero gravity has its greatest effect on the blank senses. 1, visceral. 2, reticular. 3, somesthetic. 4, vestibular.
Team 6.
Treasure Coast, F4.
Vestibular.
Vestibular is correct. Next question. Match each of the following four instrument families to its member. Here are the families. A, brass. B, percussion. C, string. D, woodwind. Here are the members. 1, xylophone. 2, sitar. 3, oboe. 4,
Treasure Coast, F3.
A4, B1, C2, D3.
that's correct. Next question. Identify the author of Ivanhoe.
Team 6.
F3.
Sir Walter Scott.
Sir Walter Scott is correct. Next question. To the nearest tenth, find the sixth term of the sequence. A sub n equals the quotient of 2 to the power of n divided by n squared.
Team 4.
Port St. Lucie High School, D1.
1.8.
1.8 is correct. Who am I? I was born into an affluent American family in 1837. My father was an international businessman who groomed me to one day take over his banking empire. While working on Wall Street, I specialized in corporate mergers and consolidation and am most closely
Fort Pierce Central High School, A3.
JP Morgan.
JP Morgan is correct. For the next question, you will use handout 5-2. Locate the envelope labeled 5-2 and show it to the judges. Hold the envelope by the long sides. Nothing is to be placed inside the envelope. The question is printed on the handout. Distribute the handouts and begin.
Team 6.
Treasure Coast, F1.
Spanish, 3, Guatemala.
That's incorrect. The correct answer was Spanish 4 or French 4. For the next question, you will use handout 5-3. Locate the envelope labeled 5-3 and show it to the judges. Hold the envelope by the long sides. Nothing is to be placed inside the envelope. The question is printed on the handout. Distribute the handouts and begin.
Team 5.
Centennial, E4.
Uranium.
The correct answer is phosphorus. Next question. Identify the major key with 2 sharps in its key signature.
Treasure Coast, F3.
D.
D is correct. Next question. Identify the British author whose works include the poem Jabberwocky.
Team 6.
F1.
Lewis Carroll.
Lewis Carroll is correct.
That was F2.
That is the end of the 5-point round. It is now time for the 10-point team question entitled A Chorus Line. Locate the envelope, a chorus line, and show it to the judges. This envelope contains 4 copies of the handout and 1 answer sheet. You're going to place the envelope on your team table. This team question is worth a total of 10 points. Each question is worth 1 point. You will be given 3 minutes to complete the handout. Remember to write your team name on the answer sheet to be collected and scored. Distribute the contents of the envelope. You may begin. You have 3 minutes. While the judges are scoring, I'll give you a little bit of background about A Chorus Line. It examines one day in the lives of 17 dancers, all vying for a spot in the chorus line of a Broadway musical. After the first round of cuts, Zach, the director and choreographer, asks each dancer to speak about themselves. Discomfort opens into revelation, confession leads to redemption, and within the bright, outwardly homogeneous chorus, the audience begin to see each dancer's individuality. From Cassie, the star who just needs the music and the mirror and the chance to dance, to Val, a small-town girl with a brand new big-town body, to Mike, who took his sister's place in dance class, saying, "I can do that." Based on real Broadway dancer stories as told to fellow dancer and choreographer Michael Bennett, A Chorus Line is funny, heartbreaking, and refreshingly honest. Well, here are the answers to the questions. 1 was Jane Austen, 2, Flatland, 3, Mondrian, 4, North and South Vietnam, 5, Don't Panic, 6, John Philip Sousa, 7, Assembly Line, 8, C Can't, 9, Queuing, and 10, Isobar.
The points for the team questions were the following. Fort Pierce Central, 3 points. Fort Pierce Westwood Academy, 0 points. Lincoln Park Academy, 3 points. Port St. Lucie High School, 1 point. St. Lucie West Centennial, 3 points. Treasure Coast, 3 points. Mosaic, 1 point. At this point, we'll take that 2-minute to do switch of any participants.
All right. We will now begin the 10-point question round. First question. Match each of the following 3 plate boundaries to its example. Here are the plate boundaries. A, convergent. B, divergent. C, transform. Here are the examples. 1, African Rift Valley. 2, Mariana Trench. 3, San Andreas Fault.
Team 6.
Treasure Coast, F3.
1B, 2A, 3C. 1B, 2A, 3C.
For the next question, you will use handout 5-4. Locate the envelope labeled 5-4 and show it to the judges. Open the envelope and remove the handout. The question is, identify the point of view used by Harper Lee in this passage from To Kill a Mockingbird.
High School, D4.
First person.
First person is correct. Next question. Match each of the following Supreme Court Chief Justices to the major decision issued during his tenure. Chief Justices: A, Roger Taney, B, Earl Warren, C, John Marshall, D, Warren Burger. Decisions: 1, Gibbons versus Ogden. 2, Dred Scott versus Sanford. 3, Roe versus Wade. 4,
Treasure Coast, F4.
All right, so is it, oh, in the mic. All right. A, 2, B, 4, C, 1, D, 3.
That's correct. Next question. In how many ways can 4 people be selected at random from a committee of 20 people?
Team 6.
Treasure Coast, F1.
4,845.
That's correct, 4,845. Next question. Match each of the following 4 literary mothers to her child. Here are the mothers. A, Thetis. B, Penelope. C, Eurydice. D, Helen of Troy. Here are the children. 1, Hermione. 2, Telemachus. 3, Achilles. 4, Haman.
Team 2.
Fort Pierce Westwood, B4.
Would it be A3, B2, C4, D1?
That's correct. For the next question, you will use handout 5-5. Locate the envelope labeled 5-5 and show it to the judges. You're going to open the envelope and remove the handout. The question is, identify respectively the 4 noted clefs.
Team 6.
F3.
1 is bass, 2 is treble, 3 is alto, and 4 is tenor.
That is correct. For this question, you will need the following information. Compound 1 is composed of 47 grams of nitrogen and 53 grams of oxygen. Compound 2 contains 23 grams of nitrogen and 77 grams of oxygen. Identify respectively the chemical formulas of the 2 compounds.
Team 4.
Port St. Lucie High School, D1.
Compound 1 is NO, and compound 2 is NO3.
That is correct. For the next question, you will use handout 5-6. Locate the envelope labeled 5-6 and show it to the judges. Hold the envelope by the long sides. Nothing is to be placed inside the envelope. The question is printed on the handout. Distribute the handouts and begin.
Team 6.
Treasure Coast, F3.
Spanish 4.
Spanish 4 is correct, as was French 4. Next question. Identify each of the following 4 agencies as being created to support the U.S. effort in either World War I or World War II. 1. War Industries Board. 2. War Production Board. 3. Office of War Information. 4. Committee on Public Information.
Fort Pierce Central High School, A3.
One, 1, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 1.
Okay, can you say that again? I wasn't sure what you were.
1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1. No, 3, 2, 4, 1.
He answered correctly?
the
Okay.
first time.
The first one was World War I, second one was World War II, the third one was World War II, and the fourth was World War I. So you are correct. Next question. Arrange the following 4 compositions in chronological order. Number 1, Porgy and Bess by George Gershwin. 2, Nocturnes by Claude Debussy. 3, The Coffee Cantata by Johann Sebastian Bach. 4, Symphony No. 40 by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
Fort Pierce Central High School, A3.
3, 4, 2, 1.
Correct. That ends the 10-point round. It is time for the 20-point team question entitled, How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. Locate the envelope labeled, How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, and show it to the judges. This envelope contains 4 copies of the 2-page handout and 1 answer sheet. Place the envelope on your team table. This team question is worth 20 points, and each question is worth 1 point. The recording of one musical selection will be played. You may take notes and discuss quietly during the playing. You will be given 3 minutes to complete the handout. Remember to write your team number, your team name on the answer sheet to be collected and scored. The musical selection will be played first.
As a brash young man, well, I said to myself, now, brash young man, don't get any ideas. Well, I stuck to that, and I haven't had one in years.
You play it safe.
I play it the company way.
Okay, you may distribute the contents of the envelope. You may begin. You have 3 minutes. While the judges are scoring those, a little bit of background about how to succeed in business without really trying. 27-year-old New York window washer J. Pierpont Finch believes he can be a success in the corporate world after he impulsively picks up the book How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. The book promises its reader that he can climb the corporate ladder simply and quickly. The worldwide Wicket Corporation, the business in the office building whose windows he washes, according to the book, is the perfect type of business. There he meets Secretary Rosemary Pinkleton, who sees in Ponty, as she calls him, an unassuming man who she believes the corporate world will eat alive. But Ponty, memorizing what the book tells him, does quickly climb the corporate ladder, but not by doing any real work. Ponty has a few obstacles along the way, such as Bud Frump, who sees Ponty as a rival and is the nephew by marriage of the company president, J.B. Bigley. Heidi LaRue, a curvaceous but simple woman who has a secret or not so secret tie to someone important in the company, Mr. Ovington, an executive who Ponte can't figure out, and Ponte possibly making a fatal error by not reading far enough ahead in the book. Ponte ultimately has to decide if climbing to the top of the ladder is worth stepping on all those along the way and risk losing the love of Rosemary. In the end, telling the truth may set him free. Here are the answers. 1 was Harry S. Truman. 2, Madam C.J. Walker. 3, George Foreman. 4, P.T. Barnum. 5, Ira Gershwin. 6, Contact Intelligent Life. 7, State Quarters. 8, Horatio Alger. 9, Levi Strauss. 10, Thesaurus. 11, Ponzi Scheme. 12, Albert Einstein. 13, J.P. Morgan. 14, Ralph Waldo Emerson. 15, Wall Street. 16, Jackson Pollock. 17, Abraham Maslow. 18, French, avoir, I can't read these words, avoir, and Spanish, tenor, estudiar. 19, 10th, and 20, Thermopylae.
Team points are as follows. Fort Pierce Central, 5 points. Fort Pierce Westwood, 2 points. Lincoln Park Academy, 3 points. Port St. Lucie, 4 points. Centennial, 5 points. Treasure Coast, 4 points. Mosaic, 5 points. If there are any substitutions, please see Ms. Bonvy. Here's an update on our scores as of right now. Fort Pierce Central, 184 points. Fort Pierce Westwood, 117. Lincoln Park Academy, 140. Port St. Lucie High School, 111. Centennial High School, 124. Treasure Coast High School, 376. And Mosaic Digital Academy, 119 points.
This is the 15-point question round. First question. Which one of the following 4 is not associated with Buddhism? 1, Guru. 2, Zion. 3, Vedas. 4, Samsara.
Team 6.
Treasure Coast, F4.
Zion?
Correct. Zion is correct. Next question. Match each of the following 4 composers to the opera he composed. Here are the composers. A, Verdi. B, Richard Strauss. C, Mozart. D, Wagner. Here are the operas. 1, Don Giovanni. 2, Salome. 3, Rigoletto. 4, Tristan and Isolde.
Time.
The correct answer was A3, B2, C1, D4. Next question. Which one or ones of the following 4 countries were once part of the British Empire? 1, New Zealand. 2, Hong Kong. 3, Brazil. 4, Rhodesia.
Treasure Coast, F4.
1, 2, and 4.
1, 2, and 4 is correct. Next question. Identify the international event that inspired the following 3 poems. Men Who Marched Away by Thomas Hardy. Dulce et Decorum Est by Wilfred Owen. And In Flanders Fields by John McCrae. For the next question, you will use handout 5-8. Locate the envelope labeled 5-8 and show it to the judges. Hold the envelope by the long sides. Nothing is to be placed inside. The question is printed on the handout. Distribute the handouts and begin.
Team 4.
Port St. Lucie High School, D4.
Spanish 1.
Spanish 1 is correct. The other answer was French 2. State the incremental period of time Stalin allotted for Gosplane to transform the Soviet Union from an agrarian economy into an industrial socialist society. State the incremental period of time Stalin allotted for Gosplane to transform the Soviet Union from an agrarian economy into an industrial socialist society.
Team 6.
Treasure Coast High School, E4, F4.
5 years.
5 years is correct. Next question. In French or Spanish, including accents if necessary, state and spell the noun sock.
Team 1.
Fort Pierce Central High School, A4.
In Spanish, media, media.
Correct. For the next question, you will use handout 5-9. Locate the envelope labeled 5-9 and show it to the judges. Hold the envelope by the long sides. Nothing is to be placed inside. The question is printed on the handout. Distribute the handouts and begin.
LPA, C2.
1 mesh, 2 tree, 3 star, 4 bus, 5 ring.
Hold on 1 second. You're fine. We just need to look at our stuff. Did you write it down in the order? Can you, so you said mesh?
Ring.
These mesh. Number 2 was. Yeah, we're good to go. Thank you. That's why we have lots of
Thank you.
people
We
here.
have letters and numbers, but we have confirmation that is correct. The next question. Which one or ones of the following 4 pollutants may produce acid precipitation? 1, lead. 2, nitrogen oxide. 3, silver. 4, sulfur dioxide. Which one or ones?
Treasure Coast, F2.
2 and 4.
2 and 4 is correct. For the next question, a musical selection will be performed. You may take notes or discuss quietly during the playing. Okay, all teams have passed. The answer was Carnival of the Animals. Okay, next question. What 3-letter word is common to the spelling of the 3 terms suggested by the following? 1, signal or sound that is a warning of danger. 3, covering that is worn to protect against weapons. 3, trinket worn as a decoration on a bracelet or necklace.
Treasure Coast, F3.
Arm.
Arm is correct. The first one was alarm, 2 was armor, and 3 was charm. So they all have arm, A-R-M. That is the end of the 15-point round. It is now time for the 30-point team question entitled Chicago. Locate the envelope labeled Chicago and show it to the judges. The envelope contains 4 copies of the handout and 1 answer sheet. Place the envelope on your team table. 1 audio selection and 1 musical selection will be played. You may take notes and discuss quietly during the playing. The team question is worth 30 points, and each question is worth 2 points. You will be given 3 minutes to complete the handout. Remember to write your team name on the answer sheet to be collected and scored. The audio selection and the music selection will be played first. Distribute the contents of the envelope. You may begin. You have 3 minutes. While the judges are scoring, I'll give you a little bit of background about Chicago. It is Broadway's longest-running American musical. It's a dazzling and satirical look at fame, justice, and the media machine. Set in the 1920s Chicago and based on real-life murders and trials, Chicago follows Roxy Hart, a wannabe star who murders her lover and is arrested despite her attempts to convince her pushover husband, Amos, to lie for her. In the Cook County Jail, Roxy meets her hero, the famed double murderess and nightclub performer Velma Kelly. When both acquire the same lawyer, the greedy and lustful superstar Billy Flynn, tensions come to a head as they vie for the spotlight. But here are the answers. They are 2 points each. Herbie Hancock. Number 2 was C. 3 was 24. 4 was Lake Michigan. 5 was 16 pi cubic inches. 6 was Al Capone. 7, counterclockwise. 8, The Jungle. 9, Carl Sandburg. 10, Jane Addams. 11 was Manhattan Project or Atomic Bomb. 12 was Milton Friedman. 13 was Louis Sullivan. 14 was Native Son, and 15 was George Surratt.
All right, team points awarded were the following. Fort Pierce Central received 10 points for the team question. Fort Pierce Westwood received 4 points for the team question. Lincoln Park Academy received 8 points for the team question. Port St. Lucie High School received 0 points for the team question. Centennial received 8 points for the team question. Treasure Coast received 14 points for the team question. And Mosaic Digital Academy received 4 points for the team question. The standings after the second round are the following. Port St. Lucie with 111 points. Fort Pierce Westwood Academy with 121 points. Mosaic Digital Academy with 123 points. And Centennial is 132 points. In third place today with 148 points, congratulations, Lincoln Park Academy. In second place today with 209 points, Fort Pierce Central High School. And in first place with 405 points, which is the largest number of points we've had in competition for at least the last 6 years, is Treasure Coast High School, home of the Titans. Congratulations.